Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals. Super excited to bring you another canister filter review today. I've been doing a series of reviews of these canister filters. I'll put a playlist up here if you haven't seen the other parts of this series yet. Today we're talking all about the Marineland Magniflow. Now the interesting thing about this, along with all of these except for the Fluval, I have not opened the box yet. What you're going to see is my initial impressions of these products. I've never used them. I don't know really anything about them. When I open them up, that's going to be for the first time ever. So that's going to make it very interesting. Let's go over and unbox this, and then we'll install it on the tank. And at the end, I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so let's unbox the Magniflow from Marineland. This is a Magniflow 220 that is rated for tanks up to 55 gallons and will filter 220 gallons per hour. Opening this box for the very first time. I have never had a Magniflow from Marineland, so this is all going to be new to me. All right, so it's got a sheet here telling us what parts are in here. And then we've got a gasket that I'm assuming is for the main lid. I need a trash can over here. So, rubber gasket, nothing really exciting. There is a box of goodies, which I would imagine, yep, this is going to be all of our hoses that are all individually wrapped. And then the input and output. We'll take these all out of the boxes, or bags, might as well. Don't be lazy, John. So your input and output valve, and then the hoses. I don't need to unwrap those yet. Then we've got the connections. These are all of the suction cups and stuff. And then you've got your clamps for the hoses. And then your output, which is kind of fancy. That's kind of interesting. I haven't seen one like that. That's new. New to me, anyway. I'm not saying it's new, but... And then this is going to be one of the hose things. We've got a couple of small O-rings. I would imagine those are for this, but... Or these. Yep, that's for those. So, kind of nice. Give you some extra O-rings. Interesting. And then we've got the filter itself. That's it. The box is empty. Can actually become the trash box now. I live in King George. We always carry pocket knives. I lost my last pocket knife because I went to the Caps game and I had it on me. And I had to throw it away because they weren't going to let me in with a pocket knife. It was a nice knife too. I liked it. I forgot there's a couple of more things here. There's your intake and your another suction cup. I will say this right off the bat. I like the way this filter looks. Looks nice. I mean, it looks like a trash can. But they all do, don't they? Now, getting into this. Now this one I can tell you is substantially smaller than the Aquarium, but that's not this filter's fault. I mean, this is for a 55-gallon tank. It's plenty good size for a 55-gallon tank. I think that the Aquarium is actually meant for a much larger tank than this one is, but just like the Aquarium, we've got the first top tray, not tray, but the first like little lid here, and then I'm assuming 3 trays. Yep. Whoa, wait. 4 trays. Wow. Okay. So the first tray on the bottom, and I'm assuming this is going to be just like the others. You've got this little hole here, which serves as like a pipe that goes from the top down to the bottom. And you have to make sure that those are lined up and then lined up with the input, which I guess it's the input. So, okay, since I'm going to install these right away, I'll go ahead and take all of these out of the bag. We've got a bag of carbon, activated carbon. That's going to come with almost every filter that you buy. And I'm going to use it because I'm going to use exactly what the manufacturer sent. So we've got 2 bags of activated carbon in one of the trays. I will be doing this according to what the manufacturer has on that diagram. On the top tray, you've got the bio disc, bio tubes, bio whatever you want to call them. They are ceramic. They are ceramic so that they are very porous, and apparently they like to run all over when you open up the bag. So there we go. I am going to take all of these and rinse them off before I install it all onto the tank. But for this, now we've got bio balls. So there's a lot of biomedia in this filter. And I like that because there's a lot of people that would argue that that's all you need. And I'm not going to put up a fight. I'm not going to argue against that. I think that biomedia is the critical element in all of these filters. It is the things that last the longest, and therefore very important. The more biomedia you have in the filter, the better. Now, you might be a new fish keeper, and you might be watching these videos to learn about filters and learn how they go together and what they do. You might not know what I'm talking about when I say biomedia. There is bacteria that grows in your aquarium that helps to eliminate ammonia and nitrite in your aquarium. We call this beneficial bacteria, denitrifying bacteria. This bacteria is a good thing, and we want as much of it as possible. So things like bioballs and these ceramic discs, ceramic tubes, whatever they are, they're very porous. These have a lot of surface area, and the more surface area you have, the more you have opportunity to grow this bacteria. So I like the fact, and I like it a lot, that this filter has an abundance of biomedia. That's very, very nice. Now, let me look here to see how they've got it all assembled. We've got the main sponges. I don't know if I mentioned this. The last tray has sponges, very coarse sponges, which is nice for picking up the big stuff. And then at the very, very top, you're going to have the polishing pad, which this is basically almost like polyfill. Not a whole lot is going to get through that. So now, when we assemble this, they've got the coarse sponges on the bottom, followed up by the one that has the carbon in it, which that doesn't make sense. Okay, well, fine then. We've got the carbon bag, then the one with the bio wheels, bio balls. Again, got to make sure that these are all lined up. Then the ceramic, and the ceramic one has the polishing pad on the top. Now I'm doing this very specifically according to the manufacturer's specs, because if you change things up, like I did on my FX6 video that I recorded in 2013, people still give me crap to this day for that. Oh, you didn't do it the way the manufacturer says. So in this series, I'm making sure I do it exactly the way the guide that comes with the filter says to do it. So there we go. It's all put together. Gonna make sure I line up the input with that pipe going all the way down. Lock her up. The filter itself is good to go. I gotta be honest, I like this a lot. I like how much there is in there. Well, there's something I already don't like. Okay, so what I just realized, one of the little rubber feet is missing on the bottom. You're supposed to have 4, and this one's missing. Wah, wah, that bothers me. Shame on you, Marineland. Paid like $125 for this thing, and it's missing a foot? Come on. Now, it might not have been missing. I might have popped it off when I was moving it, and there's no telling where it is now, so it's quite possibly could be my fault. I'll check the footage, do a little investigation, and see if it is me that's to blame for that, and not the filter itself, that it just didn't come with it. So, all right, am I putting it in the wrong? Nope, it has to go in that way. Let's see how easy this whole thing slides in here. Okay, got it figured out. Had to look at the instructions. I don't like doing that. But there's actually a key on this thing that turns, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's neat. I couldn't figure that out just by looking at it. So you get it seated down in there, you turn the key, you push it down, and there we are. We're locked into place. Pretty neat. Yeah, push it down. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, it's ready to go there. But again, I'm going to take this, I'm going to rinse everything that's inside of it out, and then we'll be ready to install it. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll put this thing on the tank and we'll get it running. Oh, before we get to that, I did just remember the O-ring, and I'm glad I remembered that because that could have been ugly. I started looking into it to see if maybe this was an extra O-ring that was sent, and it doesn't appear that it is. And there's nothing in the instructions about putting it in there. At least the way I skimmed through it, I didn't see any. But this is actually going to make for a nice tight connection here. So, yeah. Oh yeah, she's tight. Yep. Okay, now we're ready. All right, so let's get the Marineland Magniflow installed. Putting these hoses on is as simple as sliding them all the way up to the line here. I'm not sure if you can see that line right there. There's a line. I don't know if it's showing up on camera. Once you get it up to that line, then you put this clamp over it and you just squeeze the clamp down, and that's in there. Good. So we've got our output all set up, and I will put on our suction cups to make it sit still. And I'm assuming 2 of them are for the output here, or the input, excuse me. And no extension hoses, which is another surprise. And I don't know, that surprises me, that there isn't a hose to bring it all the way down to the bottom. I'm not seeing it anywhere, so I'm assuming it doesn't come with one, and that just is what it is. The output, we're going to do the exact same way. No spray bar on this one like the Aquarium, which I am a fan of spray bars, but it's not the end of the world if one doesn't have one. But I just think I think spray bars are cool. And there's one suction cup for this guy. And get the clamp on here. It's all very simple. I mean, installation, very easy. I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. If I was doing this for my actual tank at home, I would take a pair of pliers and clamp these down a little stronger. All right, well this is, okay, never mind, got it. All right, so that's on there. Using my my Fishy Biz Aquatics towel to dry my hands. Thank you, Drew. Can you see me on this camera? Yeah. All right, so the hoses go all the way down in there, and then you tighten up these nuts, and that holds them in place. No these nuts jokes, please. Please don't. Same thing over here. These canisters, super easy to install. Hook up a couple of hoses, prime it up, and you're good to go. Take the top off. This is just going to help with the priming process. If you didn't see my last video on the Aquarium, priming is probably the biggest complaint when it comes to canister filters. People struggle with it. I struggled with the Aquarium there, and that's mainly because I didn't know how it was done. I didn't know how to do it. I'd never done it with that particular filter. Some you don't even have to prime. Some of them are pretty simple, like this one. But it is a step that kind of aggravates a lot of people. But not that big of a deal. All you're basically doing when you're priming a canister filter is you're getting all the air out of it. Because if there's air in the filter, it's not going to run efficiently. It's going to shoot all kinds of bubbles in there. All right. So now, I'm pretty sure all we do, yep, is pump this little red button here on the top. Hopefully you can see it right there. So what I'm doing is pulling water from the tank. That's going to fill up the input hose. Once the tank itself, when I say the tank, I mean the filter, once it's full of water, then we can turn it on. And we'll know when it's full of water. There we go, it's starting to send water out the output now. So we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and plug her in, and then I'll probably pump her a couple more times. Again, no jokes, please. We're all adults here. All right, so there we are. It's up and running finally. Took a bit to get it going, to get all of the air purged out of it. But now that it's running, she's running pretty smooth. Very, very simple. Again, not sure how I feel about this output here. Okay, but maybe it's because I kind of like spray bars. But anyway, super quiet. It's running nice. Here we are. I mean, you know, it's a filter and it's on an aquarium and it's filtering the water. So not much more needs to be said about installation. Installation is a breeze. Very, very simple. Anybody can do it. No tools required unless you do want to cut the hoses, which I recommend that you do. But in this situation here where I'm not cutting the hoses, again, because I don't know what I'm going to be putting this on, no tools at all required. So very, very nice. Yeah, it's on, it's running, it's nice and smooth. So let's go ahead, go back to the table, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so the Marineland Magniflow 220, how do I feel about it? What are my first impressions? How do I feel about installation and the ease of installation and all that? I like it. I like this filter. I do. If you are someone who is in the market for your first canister filter and you're not looking to go overboard and get like the FX series from Fluval or something like that, those are great filters. But if you're not looking for something that huge, you have a 55-gallon aquarium, you'd like to have a canister filter because they're nice and quiet and they're easy to maintain and all this kind of stuff, depending on who you talk to, this is going to be a great filter for you. Inexpensive, easy to access, because you can go to PetSmart, you can go to Petco, you can pick them up, and you can pick up all of the replacement sponges and stuff like that for it, so that makes it very easy. I don't know about you, but I've got a Petco 2 miles from my house. So if I need something for this, I can run over there and grab that real quick. It's very easy. Petcos are everywhere, and so are PetSmart. So you gotta love that. You gotta love how easy it is to get stuff for it. You don't have to order it off Amazon or whatever and then find out you got the wrong thing or whatever. You don't want to do that. So yes, easy to install, easy to maintain. I don't care. People don't like canister filters because they think they're difficult to maintain. I disagree. I don't think they're difficult. Are they simple, like walk up, pull a cartridge out, put a new one in, and your job is done? No. You have to get under there, and you have to disconnect hoses, and you have to pull it out, and you have to lug it to the sink, and you have to do it. But hey, you know what? You're only doing that once every month or every couple of months, depending on what you have going on in your tank. So it's not like it's that big of a deal. If you're only doing it 5-6 times a year, who cares? So it doesn't bother me. I don't even know how many canister filters now. I'd have to go through and count them. I bet you I have 7 or 8 of them running right now, and I have no problem going through once a month or so and cleaning them out. It's not that big of a deal. So don't let people tell you, oh, canisters are a pain in the butt, you shouldn't get those. No, if you're looking for a filter that is very efficient and is easy to install, easy to maintain, you're going to love this filter. You absolutely will. In fact, you'd love the one that we did last week too. The Aquarium, you're going to do fine with that one too. They're around the same price. Let me go ahead and look up the price of this Marineland. I got my laptop right here. $154.83 is what I paid for this filter from Petco. There are some deals right now for this filter on Amazon. I saw one of them was actually half price. So I'm not going to put the link to that though, because that's probably something that's only going to last a couple of days. And if you click on this a week later, it'll be dead. So, but $154 for this filter. Again, it's half the cost, less than half the cost of an FX6. Now, for a smaller tank like this, I think it's perfectly fine, and I think that it's worth it to spend that kind of money on a unit like this. An FX6 would be way overkill. This is rated for up to 75 gallons. I have put FX6s on 75 gallons before, and it was kind of silly. You don't need to go that far, but one of these I think would be perfectly fine on that tank. In fact, I think it would be a great choice for a 75-gallon tank. So yeah, $154, it's a lot of money, but it's very, very quiet. It's very easy to install, very easy to maintain, all of that. And you've got all those options from all those different media trays that are in there of things that you can do with it. What are some of the things that people would do? A lot of people are going to take that carbon and pitch it because a lot of people don't believe in carbon. Whatever you like is what you like. A lot of people are going to fill it up with nothing but sponges and just have this thing be a giant sponge filter. I've done that in this tank right here. I put a FX6 on this tank to act as like a water polisher with nothing but sponges in there. That's a 240-gallon tank with a huge sump system. We're talking something much larger than what you would be doing on a 75-gallon tank. But you have all of those options in there. Fill it full of sponges and just have it be a water polisher like I've done with this. You can certainly do that. The bio media that you have in there is great with the bio balls and the little tube disc ceramic things. I like that. The more bio media, the better as far as I'm concerned. So I like that it's got that. If I was going to set this up on this 90-gallon, for example, which I'm not because it's not quite big enough for that tank, but if I was going to do that, I would do both of those trays of biomedia and the rest would be nothing but sponges. I wouldn't worry about the carbon. But that's just me. I mean, I do use carbon in some of my tanks, and I'm not somebody that's against it. I know some people are, whatever. But there you go. It comes with the carbon. It comes with the two different types of biomedia, and it comes with all of the sponges. So you're getting in the box a very efficient aquarium filtration system. And you're getting it for 155 bucks, and it'll filter up to a 75-gallon tank. There you go. So anyway, I could go on and on and on about this filter. I'm going to list the things again that I like about it. I like the fact that it looks really nice. We just got done talking about that. It's very easy to install. It's pretty easy to prime. I mean, you put some water in there, you hook everything up, you open up the valves, you plunge on that plunger for a while, and then it eventually purges all the air out and it starts to go, and it's not a big deal. It takes a few minutes to get it primed. So setting it up, priming it, very, very easy. It's not an outrageously heavy filter, even if it is full of water, so it's easy to get in and out of your aquarium stand to take it to the sink and dump out all that nastiness and do your maintenance. Very, very simple for that. So all in all, it's a good filter. I like it. I'm not going to say it's fine like I say about so many others. I'm going to say this is a good one, and I like it a lot. It's also quiet, and there you go. If there are some downsides to it, now this is again, maybe in all of this chaos, because I'm doing 3 of these in one day, maybe I lost it, I don't know, but the lack of that extension tube on the intake to go all the way down to the bottom of the tank, I don't know why they skimped on that. I wish they had one of those on there, and I'm not a huge fan of the output. That megaphone looking thing just looks weird to me. But it works fine. It disperses the water out in a bunch of different directions, so that's fine. I mean, maybe it's just me not having experience with something like that that makes me just think automatically that I wouldn't like it. But I don't know, it looks a little weird. It looks different from the other things. Doesn't look bad, but it looks weird. So I'm not a huge fan of that, and I'm not a huge fan of the fact that the intake tube is only about that long. that kind of bothers me a little bit. I wish it had like a pull-out extension or something, or just some additional hoses that you could hook up to it to get that thing down to the bottom. So overall, I am a fan of this filter. Definitely a bigger fan of this one than I was the Aquarium that we did last week. The Aquarium is a good filter. I like it, but I like this one a lot better. So if you're torn between the two, if it were up to me, I would go with the Marineland. I think it looks better. I think I mean, they're both easy to install. But I sure do like that spray bar though. But anyway, I like this Marineland. I do. I like it. I've been a fan of Marineland products for a long time. They've had a lot of products that I've used for years and years and years, and they've always been good to me. So I like Marineland for sure. I don't like them as much as I like Fluval, but I like them. So I'm maybe a little biased because I do like Marineland. But anyway, I like a lot of things about this filter. I like a lot of things better than I did the Aquarium last week. And I'm going to tell you, I like about 100% of this filter more than the one that we're going to talk about next week. Don't panic. I'm not going to do a video crapping all over the filter next week. Next week, we're talking about the Cascade from Penplex. I'm struggling with it a little bit. I'm struggling to get it primed. I'm sure once it's primed and running, it's going to be fine, but I just can't get it there. And it's really making me mad. I'm really getting aggravated with it. But I'm going to get that going now, and then I will finish up on the review of that one. It's probably going to be a different day that I do the closing on that one. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. If you want to see the future reviews of these filters, click subscribe down there. Click the bell next to it so that you can get notifications, so that when I put out the next one, you'll see it and you'll be happy, because we'll be talking about another filter next week, or more of these I'm going to do. Plus, there's Tanks of Our Lives. You don't want to miss that on Sundays. So yeah, subscribe, click the bell, do all that, and I will see you next week when we talk about that other one.